Can you talk more about prophets and emotions? Good question. Let's talk about it. The emotion that prophets will have to constantly manage, more than anger, more than rage, more than righteous indignation, more than pride and intensity, is grief. Because prophets see what could be while living among people who settle for what is. So the prophet grieves injustice. The prophet grieves compromise before the collapse even happens. The prophet grieves futures that could have been redeemed but weren't. And that weight doesn't come from ego. It comes from proximity to God's heart. And scripture says that the prophet stands in the counsel of the Lord. And God's counsel is not sterile. It comes with a burden. That's why Jeremiah wept. That's why Ezekiel carried sorrow in himself. Jesus himself wept over a city that refused healing. And when prophets don't learn to regulate your grief, it will harden into anger. This is why your burden needs a boundary. Because if you don't regulate the grief, your discernment will become cynicism. Your compassion will turn into contempt. And that's when, as a prophet, you become sharp and unsafe. So grief has to be processed, not just preached. It has to be felt, not spiritualized. It's got to be held in community and not isolated in calling, because unmanaged grief will leak into prophecy as judgment and bitterness and despair. But when grief is integrated, it will provoke you to intercession. It'll fuel your prayer life. It will drive love instead of a sense of superiority. If you want to run long in the prophetic, you can't just have an accurate gift. You got to learn to carry grief without letting it erode or corrode your soul.